coming to my session that is called Drupal 7 End of Life, prepared for BackdropCMS in October 24-25. My first slide, I follow GovCon's example. I think it was a very good idea to open slide with thank you to people and sponsors and organizations who made the camp possible. So thank you all the sponsors. Quick introduction, my name is Irina Zaks. I'm a web developer and open source evangelist. I co-maintain a feeds module, which is used by 10% of Drupal sites. And our company, Fibonacci Web Studio, builds websites and apps for research in academia. So most of my personal experience is related to higher ed and research areas. So the slide says, how many sites are still on Drupal 7? The answer is 100,000, 10,000 too many. This chart you can check every day. And I really love seeing the trend going down finally after 5, 6, 7 years pre-COVID times when Drupal 7 was an amazing tool. It supported huge community. It supported both nonprofit, small businesses, educations, and corporations. So this is one of the most powerful frameworks that I've worked with. However, there's time, technology is evergreen but ever-changing thing, and so there's time for some versions to be replaced by newer versions. I am wondering how many people in this room have at least one site on Drupal 7. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do it the other way. Please raise your hand if you are a Drupal developer and you still support Drupal 7 site. If you do not have Drupal 7 sites.
Does Drupal 6 count?
Thank you. I'm repeating for the recording. The question is, do we count Drupal 6 sites? No. Please raise your hand if you support Drupal sites that are on Drupal 8. If you do not support Drupal 6, 7, or 5, and you are a Drupal developer. There are 2 people who do not support this site and they're not Drupal developers. Anyone? Okay. So everyone is deeply interested in this talk. I gave exactly the same talk at Drupal GovCon in August, and there are some changes that happened since then. So some people might be interested. This is what you're supposed to learn after this session. I will specifically comment on some of them, but before I dive into details, I want to talk about Checklist Manifesto. This is one of my favorite books. It was published in 2011, and that's something that I strongly believe in. It doesn't solve all the problems, but it helps to mitigate possible errors in every aspect of what we're doing, and it was written by a doctor, and it is applicable at any industry. These are things that we're not going to talk about. And this is an introductory slide that I had since when I worked for Drupal Association some time ago. This is an overview of the website life cycle, and these are things that you want to pay attention when you're looking at what I'm going to do with my website that is coming up for renewal. This is a chart that talks about approximate times and major components of any migration. It's not just website migration, but any migration that you're doing. And good analysis and planning ensures that the rest of the operation goes well. And we have migration checklist, and it starts with defining what you will deliver. And the links will be available, so you will be able to read it at your leisure and decide whether it's useful or not. Any questions so far? Great. Let's move on to analysis and discovery. First step is analysis and discovery, and this is the key decision that you will be looking at. Does your current website meet your needs? If it does, if it works, then you want to approach it differently than if it's not working for you. Because people come to us with all kinds of questions, like, oh, we have this, we have that. And the first question we ask is, does your site do what you need it to do? Because if you want to redesign your site, and Drupal 7 End of Life is a good time to do that, that's very different from the situation where everything works, my car works. The only thing I'm looking for is a smoke check certificate. And then we're going to go through very specific details that we're looking when we're looking okay, what does this need site, what does this website needs? First, what type of website it is. Is it a standard site, or it is very specific with lots of custom code, lots of, let's say, web application, because that will define lots of decisions that you will make when you're planning to migrate. Second big question is, who is your support team? Support team impacts significantly of what you're going to do with your site. And these are things that you need to consider when you're making decision with what to do with your Drupal 7 site. You have short-term tasks and you have long-term tasks. And you need to look into details of how much time and money I want to spend now versus what I'm going to be spending later on future problems. This is task list for migration. Again, this talk is for you to use as more or less as a checklist. I don't think there's anything new except for a list of long-term support providers, which keeps changing. But these things exist since, I think, maybe second website was built. Last century, last millennium, 1998, there was lots of sites and lots of them were migrated, so the list is the same. This is a list of things that we explain to people when they come to us and say, I have Drupal 7 site, what are my options? For each of these options, I'm going to have 2 slides. One will have a list of tasks that are related to the site, and then the other one will be like a table. The tables are all the same, so you will have a chance to compare what happens in each of these options. I want to emphasize that in our company does not recommend in any way to stay on unsupported Drupal 7 version. I've read some of articles that say you can stay on unsupported version. We don't support that. So, 4 options: full migration, retrofit, BackdropCMS, and extended security support. As I said in the very beginning of this presentation, this is Drupal Camp. We're not going to discuss building new site. We're not going to discuss migrating to different systems like WordPress, Sitecore. There's lots of great systems. We're going to today, this conversation is like, I have Drupal 7 site, Drupal ecosystem, Drupal tools work very well for me. I want to stay in this system. What are my options? Option number 1 is, which is ideal version, and that's the way I was thinking, my line of thought was in 2016, was full migration. We go to Drupal 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever is the number. Some people call it modern Drupal, some people call it Drupal with Composer. These are things that are important to know when you're making decision to go this path. You have to have on your team developer who is fluent with Composer. Composer is an amazing tool. However, if you are not familiar with this, it can take a long time to figure out how to install it, and even worse, how to upgrade it. I have a witness here in this room who have seen what happened to my laptop when I said, oh, yeah, I'll just upgrade from Composer 1.3 to Composer 2 point something. And for the next 2 years, I was not able to run anything Composer related on my machine. I'm very grateful to those who helped me, and now I can run Composer on my machine again. You need to develop new theme because themes are not compatible between Drupal 7 and Drupal with Composer. If you have custom modules, you will need to completely rewrite them because that is different, completely different mechanism. And there is some learning curve. However, as we have seen, now that we have AI, some things might work differently. So I don't know what it's going to look like in the next 3 years. And then with full migration, with Drupal 10, you have to migrate. You have to migrate content, you have to migrate files into new media library, you have to migrate users, passwords, any integrations. So that is a very big migration. And it requires expert developers in addition to site builders or content owners. What tools do we have? Since 2017, I'm very happy to do a demo for one-click upgrade from Drupal 7 to whatever version it is. Does it work? Yes, it does work. Does it work everywhere? No, it doesn't. It only works for very well-defined sites that has migration paths for all the modules. And custom modules are still need to be coded. There's Aqua Migrate Accelerate. Every time I want to say very special thanks to Wimblers who got to the point where this module is now open and open sourced. It makes a huge difference. It allows developers to track migration. It allows you to roll back what you need to roll back and make adjustments. There are modules like Migrate, which is underlying module. It's in Drupal core. And there is a module that's called Migrate Plus, which we developed in 2018. And it's sitting there. Yuri Van Koppen, maintainer of feeds, keep upgrading some of it, but it's not ready. It combines UI from feeds module, which is very site builder oriented UI. And it works on top of Migrate that's in core. However, it's not fully developed module, so its developers can play with it, but not end users. This is summary of what you need to full migration, and what I put in there is the table of the things that 4 slides ago we said you need to pay attention to when you're estimating your costs and schedules. Any questions here? Yes?
I have a comment or just a recommendation of another tool to look at for migration tools, especially when it comes to custom code. Retrofit.
Hold on, it's a special.
You have a whole section for retrofit?
Okay, all right, so let me go back 4 slides and emphasize that retrofit is amazing. Where's my 4 options? Hold on. Where's my 4? Okay, here's 4 options. The first one is migration to Drupal 10.11, which is full migration. So you're migrated, you're in the new system. It's all new and shiny.
Okay, yes.
Item number 2. Thank you, team. It's a great segue for me to now go into, from here, if for some reason you look at this option, you count your money, you count your team, you count your time frame, you say, I don't think I can make it work. You dive into, you look at the second option on the list, you're still on modern Drupal 10, but if you have huge custom code, you should try retrofit module. It was developed by Matt Glaman, who builds lots of very, very interesting tools. Let me see if this will play.
So today, I'd like to introduce a new project.
You can watch the YouTube video on your own. We don't have to do it here. Let me play it a little bit more, so, okay, great. And then, idea is, you set foundation for modern Drupal, all your lines and lines of Drupal 7 code, you run a drop into retrofit module, and then things just work. That's the way we hope it will work. The problem here is that, okay, hold on. The problem here is that you're still maintaining Drupal 7 code. So now you have to have people who know both Drupal 7 and Drupal 10. What it buys you some time to have smog check certificate. If your IT is looking at your site, you are on the supported site, and then your Drupal 7 code runs within container, or not container, but it's like isolated from the main instance, but it is still pretty expensive. And it has also same limitations that Drupal 10 has for the previous version. It works pretty well for large custom sites, and it's more of a corporate tool, enterprise tool, than mid-size or small business and nonprofits. Then we have an option for people who don't have large websites, all levels, nonprofits, research, academia. That is the tool that I use, so obviously talk about it a lot. And the reason why I like it so much, because it gives my customers, people who I support, best bang on the buck. Price performance, best results. So for the amount of money that they can afford, that they make from their small businesses, they can have up-to-date, modern, supported version of the tool that works for them. We just migrated 20 hours took us to migrate a working site for, it's not a construction company, it's a company that has software that builds bridges. We migrated Drupal 7 site, working site with forum, with lots of users, with lots of attachments that are provided by users, under 20 hours. Why? Because it was, number one, well-maintained site. Number two, we had very good information from the site owner. And migration to Backdrop works very well for this kind of sites. There is tools to convert your theme if you want, or you can use new themes. There is a tool called Coder Upgrader that converts your Drupal 7 code into Backdrop code, because these two things are much closer. You don't have to do a complete rewrite. And the process of upgrading is different. You don't take things out of one container and put them in another container. You take the whole database, you put it inside Backdrop code, and you run the upgrader. And if this is a well-built site, it just runs for maybe 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and it's done. If your site has a lot of hacks, tweaks, not well built, not maintained, and has very weird relationships, or some modules where there are 10 installation of the module, it doesn't go as well. But I've migrated two sites that were that had very convoluted structure. We had to do a little bit of unwinding or whatever, so making it a little bit more direct, and it worked like a charm. Also, we did a DrupalCon migration of a Backdrop site for a small business. We timed it with the person who ran it first time with D2B module. I still have a screenshot at 1 hour and 14 minutes for the complete site migration except for theme. So even if I spend, now I have 15 hours that I can spend on the theme, and it's still under 20 hours, which is very good result for migrating Drupal 7 site. I'd say almost at any developer's rate. This is same table for migration to Backdrop. And then we have, hopefully coming soon, Starshot, which is called Drupal CMS. I think that this is a great system. It opens new opportunities. Some people ask, well, if I migrate to Backdrop now, can I then get to Drupal 10 or 11 or 12? And the answer is yes, it's exactly the same path. If you migrate from Drupal 7 to Drupal 10 today, you will do exactly the same things that if you're migrating from Backdrop to Drupal 10, because it's exactly the same setup architecture. So if you want to buy yourself, say 5 years, because average website is 5 years. If you want to buy 5 years, invest minimum, have your site running on supported software, and then 5 years later, okay, now Drupal Composer or whatever it's at that time works so well that I can afford it. Can I go there? Yeah, it's totally the same path, which makes it a very good use case for those who just need the bridge. And yes, Backdrop has APIs, it has migrate APIs and feeds and all the tools that you need. And then the last option, which has been introduced somewhat recently, it's extended security support. We have now 3 companies that offer it. These are certified partners with the Drupal Association. And we have 2 very interesting initiatives. One is Drupal 7 security. This is a community initiative that is offering to provide security support for Drupal 7 sites and modules, both for core and modules. This is a great option for those who can't afford commercial support and need to stay on Drupal 7. And then recently it's been a great announcement that Pantheon is now offering 2 years of extended support, giving people a chance to move their sites and giving them some protection for the next 2 years, not encouraging them to stay on Drupal 7, but giving them guidance, support, and maybe waiting for next version of Drupal where site builders will be more comfortable. And I'm happy to say that we have people from Drupal Association and from Pantheon. If somebody wants to ask any questions, we can have an answers right here.
I just want to point out that Pantheon offering is through just tab 1.
Yes.
Tab 1's offering. Pantheon's not running their own stuff, correct?
Yes, it's a partnership.
It's
tab 1, right?
Correct.
Well, I have to, I'm gonna, for recording, Pantheon is not doing its own support, but it is running it through tag 1. However, if for people who are hosting on Pantheon, there is no additional cost.
Right.
Comparing to people who are not hosting on Pantheon, who have this additional cost with tag 1, which even at minimum, absolutely minimum, can very quickly become quite large number. So for some of my, we have I think 1 or 2 sites that are still in Drupal 7, but for them, it's a huge benefit. And they don't particularly care whether Pantheon is using their own security, D7 security, tag 1, Hero Devs, or Drop Solid, because they don't even know these names. They just know that they signed up for the plan and they have 2 years to get off their site. That's it. But thank you very much for this important clarification. What is the advantage of extended security support? You don't have to do anything.
Yet.
Well, 2 years is a long time. Today we had lots of different presentations. We had a keynote talking about Drupal CMS. We had AI presentation saying, well, in 2 years this problem is not going to be our problem. It will be taken care of by somebody. So sometimes doing nothing is the best strategy. Maybe I will be closing my business in 2 years, I really don't care. Maybe I plan to sell my business in 2 years, and whoever buys it, it's their problem. But that is like one of the benefits overall of extended security support, because migration is always a hassle. There are new upcoming options. And now the next chapter is for those who are interested in actually doing migration. I have a set of slides on discovery tools. Any questions so far? Okay. I'm going to do a really quick overview because this is really targeted towards audiences when people want to know how to do migration, how to do site audit, and what are tools that help them actually move content. Site audit module, great tool, provides you integrated, it gives you a big picture of everything that's on your site. All the things that are in site audit you can get in different ways. You can pull content information and content views, you can get this and that, but this is just like large report that runs. You have it in one click on the same site. You can print it and provide it for your management. You also can provide it to your technical, whoever is doing your technical migration, and it doesn't require any skills from, it can be done by a site builder or anyone who has admin access. This is example of what it provides you with. And these are benefits. Remember that blue chart that we had in the beginning? This is approximately, on each side it will be different, how you can benefit. And if on a project you can save 15%, it's a really big number for a project manager or whoever is doing the sales. So this is your site audit, as we said. If you do good preparation, then your projects run much better. Now we're looking at what is ready for us in the new house. So we're moving from one house to another. First we check what we have in our current house, like how many beds, how many dishes, where are we moving refrigerator, or what's going on. Then we look at our new house. Which modules are ready in Drupal, which modules are ready in Backdrop. And this is our case study. We migrated the site recently. This is reasonably complex non-profit site. Our pitch to them was based on the solo project by Stanford University. There is this wonderful article on Pantheon site that starts with how one Stanford team saved $500,000. And this is the quote and the words that we stick to. We have a fiduciary duty to our university. We take stewardship of funds and resources seriously, because even such a large organization like Stanford University, who can afford migrations, is thinking about where do we want to target our funds. And SOLA it's a university-wide tool that allows people to apply for scholarships, learning opportunities. And it was built on Drupal 7, and Atom Design Group did an amazing job moving it. And everyone can read the article and know the details of funding. So when we were looking at the CPQCC site, we did analysis and we felt that Backdrop would be much better option than Drupal 10 for this particular site, especially with the amount of money that they wanted to spend on the upgrade. There's lots of standard tools. Bootstrap 5 is a great theme that allows people to very easily theme and style. Paragraphs Aplenty module. I want to sincerely thank maintainers. This is huge help, because components now are coming out of the box and we need to reinvent the wheel. We can, paint the wheels, we can decorate the car, we can build something new. we were able to contribute a little bit to the Biblia module, which is a very interesting tool. Biblia is not available in Drupal 10, and it is used a lot in academia. And we migrated in 4 weeks, which is great. So, quick summary of these 4 options: measure twice and select right tool for the job. And this is discussion time. Thank you very much. Any questions from the audience? And I want to thank you, core contributors to Drupal 10, and I want you to thank core contributors for Backdrop project, core contributors, okay? Backdrop project, thank you. I want to thank Drupal Association for supporting effort, and I want to thank all the sponsors who made this conference available.